So before we get into the video proper, I recorded this a few days ago, and since then I've received presents from like family and friends, and I know that upon editing this and uploading it, after that, it's gonna look a little bit iffy, like a bit passive-aggressive, because I know friends and family and whatnot watch this YouTube channel, so it's gonna look a bit passive-aggressive, and I've already told them. I've mentioned to them that I've got a video recording, I've recorded it prior, it's not about you, but I know how it can look, so I just want to put this ahead of time because I feel a little like it might come across wrong, and I don't want to start shit between friends and family over something as stupid as this, but yeah, I'm sure they understand, they know me. They know how fucking weird and awkward I am, so I'm sure it'll be fine. But I do want to put this little bit in the start for peace of mind. Essentially, like, these people, they know me, and they will get me gifts that, like, say, like, display that they know me. And I genuinely do appreciate it. But gift giving just... it's hard to explain, but it's like a mixture of emotions. Gift giving is not one of my love languages, right? So, in order to appreciate it, I need to process it through like a words of affirmation kind of lens. And in order for me to get into the mentality of doing it for someone else, I need to view it through the lens of, well, I know their love language is gift giving, so if I don't do that for them, then that is me basically telling them that I don't care about them. So even if it's not my love language, I need to understand what theirs is and do it through an acts of service lens in order to, you know, get it across. But gift giving just stresses me out. And if I had to do it for everyone I love and care about, which is a fair few people, it would just take up months of my life every year. I would be stressed out about what to get for people, make sure I've got it all in and ready and all that kind of thing, you know. And yeah, it's just too much. It's not something I can handle. It's just stress. And as a result, I avoid it. It's not a love language I have, and pretty much the only people I do it for are the people whose love language is gift giving. And I've figured that much out. Like, I know it, not necessarily for a fact, but I know them well enough to know that that is their love language. Like, my mother was one of those people as well, and she goddamn loved Christmas. And, yeah, because Christmas is the holiday of giving and receiving. So, it's, well, that's what fucking... that's what the marketing has turned it into. It used to be a season of being each other's light in the darkest days of the year and feasting and celebrating whilst the world outside was almost, like, permanently dark. That's what it used to be about. It used to be about, like, community and family and getting together and celebrating, being each other's light. But now it's about buy. You must consume all the things. You must buy the tins of, like, Quality Street that is just not worth as much money as it used to do. You know, pay us money whilst the quality keeps going down, but it's tradition, so you need to do it anyway. I'm not getting into that rant. But yeah, it's just one of those things. So I avoid gift giving as much as possible. It's difficult because when I receive gifts from people, especially gifts that show that they know me, it makes me feel really fucking guilty. I appreciate it, and I'm happy to be... I feel happy to be seen by these people and understood by these people. But at the same time, it makes me feel like a colossal piece of shit. But if I start doing gift giving, I'm going to have to do it every year, and it's going to be fucking... It's going to stress me the fuck out. So I just avoid it as a whole, as much as I can, for my own peace of mind. And that's really what it is. So, yeah, I just wanted to put this little, like, 4.5-minute bit in at the start of the video before we get into it. It's mainly about enneagrams, but the gift thing kind of really hit it home for me because I've not met that many people who are like this with gifts, and it's quite, I don't know, it's awkward this time of year. Same thing around my birthday. But, yeah. It's also awkward for people who have never had loved ones. So me complaining about receiving gifts from people is like, well, I never had any loved ones to do this for me. Like, it makes me seem like a selfish piece of shit. And there we go, adding the guilt again. It's one of those things. People are different. people are different. They have different things that they value, and I have to view it through a lens of, you know, words of affirmation or something like that in order for me to kind of value gift giving. Like, the act of gift giving in and of itself means nothing to me. But me basically feeling like I haven't done something for someone when I really should, or that kind of thing. And yeah, I'm going to start repeating myself, so we're going to leave it here and we're going to get into the main video. So I have finally nailed down my Enneagram type. Finally. I feel as if I know now what I am. I'm a 5 with 4. Really, the fact that I was constantly looking into it all the time, trying to absorb as much information as possible until I felt confident enough to say that I knew exactly, without question, what I was. I didn't just rely on my gut. I should have really just relied on my gut, because my gut actually serves me right a lot of the time. It's quite accurate, but despite that, I felt like I needed to know. I didn't want to just come out, rely on the feeling at the time and go, I know now because this makes sense at this current moment. No, I wanted as much information as possible until it finally all clicked neatly into place. Which is an incredibly 5 thing to do. I had suspected 5. All the tests gave me 5. But then I looked into things and I'm like, actually, I'm a lot like 4 in a lot of ways. And the idea of being 4 makes me a little uncomfortable. So that might actually be what I actually am. Because the beauty about Enneagrams is, it's not just, here's a bunch of things that make you a special little snowflake. What makes you special and truly different from everyone else? Hee hee hee. The real thing about the Enneagrams is it gets into the core of what you are. And not all of that is pretty. Because none of us are perfect. And all of us have insecurities and desires and problems and things like that. And that's what I like about Enneagrams. It's not positive. It's neutral. Some of it's good to hear about yourself, and some of it's pretty fucking negative. But if we entirely ignore the negative in life, then, well, that becomes a problem. We need to face our demons. We need to face our negative sides in order to help us become better people. That's why I like these systems. Now, I'm ironclad in being an INFJ. That's not a concern at this point. Like, I know I'm an INFJ. I've looked into it to ridiculous amounts. And I've found that the YouTubers specifically who cover INFJ topics and are INFJs themselves, my mannerisms are that of an INFJ. I have never been so validated in my life than when I found INFJs, and I found just how common it is for us to kind of act like I'm acting now. It's weird. We kind of seem like, you know, that guy who's got like a bunch of images connected with red string? We kind of seem like that guy in real life. And it's funny seeing my traits in other people in ways that I just don't see in most people out there. It's very validating. It makes me feel like, oh, I'm not actually such a fucking dysfunctional freak. There are a lot of people out there who are like me. Maybe we're all dysfunctional freaks, but at least I'm not alone. There's also, I've mentioned it before, but that one post on Quora, where people are posting selfies of themselves, who are all INFJs, and fuck, pretty much every one of them has the exact same look in their eye. Like they're seeing right through you. Or they're looking at you, but they're not really paying attention to you. They're way back. They're looking forward, but they're in here. A million-yard stare. Like, wow. Again, I have the same look in a lot of my pictures, and all these people have the same look, and I can't get rid of it. When I try and get rid of that look, I look off. I actually look kind of murderous when I try to hide that look in my eyes. It's because I'm looking at it, and I can see that expression is not my real expression. My real expression doesn't look like that, and because I can pick that up, it makes me look like I'm hiding something not nice. If you know what I mean? I look off when I try and hide that look in my eyes, you know what I mean? So I don't do it anymore. I'm just like, right, this is the look I have. It's weird to some people, but fine. Anyway, all this aside, I've been going through quite a few of a specific YouTuber's videos, because I've watched a lot of YouTubers on these topics. I've read a lot of articles. I've even read a few books on enneagrams, and the Myers-Briggs system, INFJs, billion other systems like this, right? And there is one YouTuber that I've been watching specifically today and watched before in the past that has really nailed it down for me. Her name is Hillary McCaskey. She doesn't seem to be making videos anymore. She's a type 9 and she experiences burnout, going by some of her other videos. I won't comment further than that because I've not looked into them. I don't know what her story is. But I found her videos to be incredibly helpful in kind of nailing down. All the tests gave me 5, but that wasn't good enough. I had to have more information, and upon looking information, I thought, I have some traits of 9, I have some traits of 6, I have some traits of 5. So specifically, I thought, okay, well, type 9 apparently often gets mistyped as type 5 a lot. Maybe I'm not special, so maybe I'm actually a type 9, which is the most common type. Fair enough. That seems it's the most common type. That's probably what I am. Looking into it, some of it clicks, but not everything. I still think 5, but am I really that cerebral? I've got a little bit of perfectionism in me, which means that it doesn't matter how good I am or how much I know, I don't think it's ever good enough. I should be better at something. I should know more about something. I should be more capable. I do have a bit of perfectionist tendencies, and it means I'm never happy with myself. So if I ever get to the point in something where I outright say, yes, I am good at this. Yes, I'm at like a professional level of this. Yes, I am capable of this. That means that I have so much confidence in this thing because I've seen time and time again that I can replicate the same level of quality, and it's a quality that I'm happy with. And very few things come under that because I am a bit of a perfectionist. I could do like the most perfect thing in the world on like a world like achievement level, and it will still not be good enough because in my head I'm like, I could do that so much better. I should do that so much better. I'm terrible for it. So I believe part of that is a type 6 trait as well, but I don't know too much about type 6. That's one type I've not looked into in great detail, so I won't comment on that because I could be very wrong. But one video we're specifically going to look at is gift giving, because gift giving, especially around this time of year, is something I've ranted about a lot. So before we watch it, we're gonna watch her video, well, her takes on type 6, 5, and 4. Why I did it backwards, I don't know. 6 is fresh in my mind, that's why. Because being a type 5, that's my main, but I will also have tendrils in type 6 and 5 because they're my connecting types, right? I believe I am a type 5 with 4 because, actually, you know what? I'm going to throw another video of hers in the mix as well because she's done a video on this that just, wow, that's me. Holy shit, that's me. That's like the one thing I'm really good at, that kind of thing, right? To talk about gift giving, the best gift you can give me is to allow me to guilt-free abstain from the gift-giving practice. That means giving and receiving, by the way. Be it Christmas, birthdays, whatever the fuck. I don't enjoy it. I don't like it. On the love language spectrum, gift-giving is not even there. Every other one is there to some degree, but gift-giving is not there. I am terrible at giving them, and I am terrible at receiving them. My general practice for when I do have to give a gift is, look, type 4 trait right here. I'm not just gonna... The worst thing for me is feeling like I was somebody's obligation. I don't want to feel like somebody's obligation. The fact that my existing in this very consumerist world means that someone who cares about me or someone that has me in their life has felt the need to spend money or go out of their way to get me something to give me because there's a specific date on the calendar makes me feel guilty. I don't like that. Now, I understand that some people have gift giving as a love language. It's a bit different for them because I understand that that's their love language. I'm still awkward with receiving gifts. Always have been, always will be. But the idea that I was somebody's obligation, and over the years I've received multiple gifts from people who, where it was really obvious that I was just to tick off a list. I was somebody's obligation. They don't know me. They are just getting this because they don't want to be, oh, well, I didn't give him a gift this year, so he thinks that I'm a horrible, like, Scrooge of a person and doesn't care about him, doesn't think about them. Can you see the way society has fucked us into feeling the need to purchase something, otherwise it reflects negatively on us? I really don't like that. I don't want to be a part of that. And all that is a very Type 4 take on the whole thing, right? By that same token, Type 4s can often really care about giving gifts because they want to feel understood. So they want to receive gifts that show that the person giving them the gift really understands who they are, really gets who they are. That means a lot to them. By that same token, when they're giving a gift to someone else, they want to give that to someone else. They want that person that they're buying a gift for to understand that, to feel understood, to feel seen and heard, and like, I understand who you are, and I've got this specifically because I knew this is exactly what you'd like, right? Problem is, gift giving doesn't come natural to me. They're all very Type 4 traits. Gift giving doesn't come naturally to me. So I have to research like fuck. I have to look up like fuck. I will spend hours upon hours, maybe days or weeks, trying to find the perfect gift. And I will do this as early in the year as possible to get it out the way so I don't have to worry about it anymore. The worst thing is leaving it right to the birthday or right to Christmas or something like that where everything's shot up in price and I'm panicking to get it done in time. Oh, that's a knock on the door. Gift giving adds a lot of stress to the point where if I had to do this for all of the people I love, all of the people I know, all my family, I would be fucked. Not only would this take up months of my year trying to get everyone nailed down, but it would also cost me a bomb. Because I wouldn't focus on price, I would focus on getting exactly what I think this person would appreciate. And quite frankly, there are some family members I don't know well enough. And I really do not want to give them the obligation gift. Because I've received obligation gifts multiple times. And it feels like shit. It feels bad. You don't know me. And what you've given me is just a waste of money. I feel bad because it's obvious that I was just a tick off a checklist. I was just an obligation, which feels bad because there's a level of you don't know me when you really should. But then there's also the element of why the fuck have you wasted money on this? You didn't need to do this. You know, there's that element to it as well. So it makes me feel shitty and also guilty, right? Gift giving is something that people just should avoid with me, right? If I love you, you know it. You know why? Because I will spend time with you when I can. Because I will spend time with you when I can. I will do things with you. I will jump to help you if the opportunity pops up, right? That's how you know. I will jump to spend time with you. And typically speaking, with the people I love, I will do that. Even if it's just a day walking around somewhere, we don't do anything, we just walk around and have a gab, we go to a cafe or somewhere and have a cup of coffee or something and a gab, that means a lot to me. Quality of time is a big love language for me, and because I get so drained whilst being around people, because I'm autistic, because I'm an introvert, the fact is that I'm putting caring about you and wanting to be around you ahead of my own energy management. I'm choosing to do that because I like you, I love you, I care about you, and I want you in my life. And I'm displaying that by making you a priority in my social energy reserves, right? So if I'm spending a lot of time with people, if I jump to spend a lot of time with people, you know, and you're one of those people, you know I care about you. That's how it works. Acts of service is also something I do, but I'm also very careful about that because that can very easily be exploited. And because I can do it so naturally, a lot of people won't even realize they're exploiting it. So I'm a bit dubious about that one. A lot of the time, I will try and get out of doing something in case it becomes a expectation. Because my mentality is, if I'm willing to do this once, I'm willing to do this a lot. Right? Especially with certain things. So when I agree to help with something, I'm typically agreeing to help it with it more than once. For a lot of times. So yeah, it's a priority thing, right? Because it's weird if I say yeah one day and no the other day when there's nothing already in that slot. You know, that's weird. So some things I've said no to. And it also just depends on energy reserves. Like, I said no to a friend, meeting them up in town last week because I would have literally been in town 3 days in a row. And by that point, I was fucked. And I needed time to myself. And, I was drained, and it's Christmas, so the town is full as all hell. So I just couldn't. And it's the first time I've said no to him when meeting up there. You know, I just couldn't do it. But yeah, I've gone a little bit off topic here. So we're going to watch some of her videos. I'm going to shove my headphones on. We're going to watch some of her videos because it's rare that I feel so heard. I'm debating whether or not to go into the core one because if you're interested, you can go into that. I'm a little bit awkward about sharing vulnerabilities these days on YouTube. Used to be back in the day that I was far more open about it, but it's weird, but I'm doing better these days, and as such, I care more about keeping up a certain appearance. You know, whereas back when I just didn't care and I was depressed and I felt like shit all the time, I didn't care about showing vulnerability because it's like, well, whatever the fuck, it doesn't matter anyway. Whereas these, I have greater value in myself, greater respect for myself, and as such, I have like a value kind of like level in which I don't want to sully that by being overly vulnerable and emotional online, especially giving away elements of myself that people could possibly exploit, which sounds a little bit paranoid. But again, if you're on YouTube and you're putting yourself out there, be careful with that. Like, I'm a no one, but it doesn't matter. Somebody could still see a vulnerability I'm posting for the world to see and choose to exploit that in some way. But anyway, let's get into it. I'll debate whether or not I'll do that. If we do that, I'll shove it in at the end. It depends on how I feel after all this. But it is nice to finally know my type. So let's get into that. So we're going to go through 4s because 5 with 4s play a role. We're going to go through 5s because 5. And we're going to go through 6 because 6 is the connected type. So there is actually some through line there as well. So let's go.
Type 4s love to give thoughtful, meaningful gifts. They want others to feel seen and heard, and in return, they like that too. They love it.
Now, again, I know I've just watched this before recording, so obviously I could be bullshitting, but keep that in mind. What I've just said is genuine, and like I've said many times before, being genuine, authentic is a value that I really do have. There's so many fake people online. There's so many fake people in the real world. When you're watching me online, when you're with me in real life, I want you to have the real me, right? Again, very type 4, hence why I'm definitely a 5 with 4. Why aren't I a type 4 why aren't I a type 4 if I'm showing so many type 4 traits? Because my cores aren't that of a 4. I don't want to be different. I am, because I'm autistic and it's just part of it, and sometimes that's a strength, but most of the time that's a hurdle. I don't want to be different. I just am. And sometimes I would like to be normal, and sometimes I appreciate the ways in which makes me different, but being different and special and unique is really not something I value. But here we go.
Someone will take the time to put effort and thought and, you know, something extra into a gift that they're going to give the 4s. And so it definitely goes both ways with those type 4s. Gift idea do's for the type 4. Something handmade, something one of a kind, something that maybe no one else has, something that means something, like I said, maybe a gift card to a...
So, again, the greatest gift you can give me is getting out of gift giving as a whole, which thankfully, for the most part, I have achieved. Like, I don't do it. I don't do Christmas, I don't do birthdays, I don't do nothing. Occasionally, I will see something, I'd be like, oh my god, that is perfect for someone. And I don't care what time fuck Christmas, fuck birthdays. If I see something like that I genuinely believe is perfect for someone, and I can afford it, I'm gonna get it for them. I did it with a friend last year. Probably the one person watching this. I saw like these perfect toy burr things, like ugly little, they're called Fuggles or Fugmals or something like that. And it had like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle thing. I got the wrong turtle. I know what the right turtle is now. I thought he was an orange turtle guy. He's a purple turtle guy, just like me. So I got him that, the orange one, and because I thought that's perfect for him. And he seemed to appreciate it. But next time, if that ever comes up again, purple turtle. I remember that now. But again, it wasn't... I think it was near the end of the year, so I sent it as a Christmas gift. But if it wasn't the end of the year, I wouldn't have sent it as a Christmas gift. I would have just sent it to him. But I don't do these things, right? When I receive the gift, I do want that gift to say, hey, I know who you are. Here's something that shows that I know you. This person knows me. And when I give a gift, I want them to hear that. I know who you are. Right? I will say though, handmade stuff, I would appreciate that, because even if it's just a little piece of shite, like a little piece of handmade shite that I can shove on a shelf somewhere, and every time I look at it, it'll make me smile and think about the person. Yeah, that means something. You don't have to fucking spend anything. You can just make it from the little crap that you've got around, right? I will appreciate that kind of thing. Handmade stuff, maybe symbolic stuff of like a passing joke we've had in the past or some other dumb shit like that. I'll appreciate that because, again, it's connected to meaning something. It's connected to knowing me and that kind of thing. And handmade stuff is big because you're putting time and effort into crafting something specifically for me, and I do value that time and effort put into something instead of just whipping out your wallet or your credit card or something. But again, the greatest gift you could give me is letting me abstain from gift giving. Again, giving and receiving. But yeah, a lot of this is very true.
A really unique coffee shop that not a lot of people go to or even know about. You know, yes, you're going to have to do some research. You're going to have to get online.
This is the difference. I don't give a shit about being where no one's been, right? I don't give a shit about being a special snowflake. Going out anytime, gift or not, and having a coffee with somebody I care about and a chat, that's my idea of a good time. That's my idea of a good time. Having a good chat with someone I care about whilst over a cup of coffee. That is a good day out. That is my idea of a good time. Fuck the gift thing, just in general. But the whole unique special snowflake thing, I want to do something that no one else has done. I want to look at this unique special thing I've done. Nah, fuck that. I don't care about that.
And research and figure something like this out, but it would mean so much for the type 4. Another thing that some of my type 4 friends love is anything vintage. Vintage jewelry, vintage decor, vintage anything. Although I'm probably gonna have to put decor on don'ts also, because the chances that you really, really know what they want as far as decor goes are probably pretty slim.
Yes, do not buy me ornaments for my house. Again, if it is something handmade, I'm going to appreciate it. If it is a reference to something we've done or a passing joke or just a dumb little piece of shit that's like a joke, yeah, I'm going to appreciate that. But don't buy me furniture because it's not going to be... It's not going to be something I'd buy for myself. It's not going to happen. It's not going to be something I'd buy. I don't think it's ever been something I'd buy when I've received things like that. But yeah, that's one of those things. Because I'm a bit of a hoarder, and I have a lot, like, space is precious, to the point where when I've been out and be like, oh, I really like that, but I'm not going to buy it because I have no fucking where to put it. So, and if I get a gift from someone, I'm going to have to prioritize that over my thing. You know, because especially if they come over and they'll see that it's there or not. Sometimes I've received things that have just been shoved in a corner because I don't want to put them up on the wall, or I don't want to put them on a fucking shelf. It's like, I appreciate it, but at the same time, I'm not going to do anything with it. There's actually something I think that comes up with this later on down the line, you know. Yeah, avoid that. Vintage stuff, I do appreciate some of that, but at the same time, you're best not to bother, just in case.
I don't know, but I would say anything vintage, maybe even a record, or, you know, there's those awesome record stores that you can go to, something like that. They're more than likely gonna love. Gift idea don'ts for the Type 4. Anything generic, anything practical. Now, earlier I said for, I think, who like the...
I have received practical gifts before that I appreciate. Sometimes I've received... I got like a mop thing a year or so ago. That's actually... It's like electric powered. Admittedly, it doesn't give a better clean than the one I do myself manually. And I think overall, I do prefer my manual one. That being said, it is fucking practical. And when I can't be arsed using the elbow grease, just shoving something in that and doing it electrically, yeah, it gives a good fucking clean. And I've used it a few times. That is really fucking practical, and it saves me some effort. So, that was a good gift. Yeah, no, this is where I fall off of the Type 4 thing, the whole super unique special thing. Practical is good. But again, the best bet is to not participate. I would like you. Let me spend some time with you. That is better than receiving something, okay?
The practical gifts, maybe the Type 1. The Type 4, not so much. They're not into the practical gifts. And gift cards, like I said, a gift card to like a unique place, yes. But just a gift card in general to like Target, I would say no.
If you give me a gift card, make sure it's a place I actually use. Because I'm not going out somewhere specifically just to use a gift card. Why the fuck would I spend money that I wouldn't otherwise spend just so I can save money in an area I wouldn't otherwise spend money in? Again, best to just not.
It's too general. It's too, like, you know, easy to do. And I think for them, they're going to just want you to dig a little deeper and find that special gift for them. Type 5s. Type 5s are going to research a ton about the gifts they're going to give.
Yes.
But I will say, as far as receiving gifts, one thing I've noticed is sometimes they feel a little awkward. They don't know what to do. They open up a gift. They're like...
This is the thing that made me do this video. This is so fucking validating. We live in a consumer society. Christmas comes. You need to buy a bunch of food that you're never going to eat. You're going to buy those fucking stupid sweet tins that everyone buys in fucking ridiculous quantities in this country. Here's an idea. If you're going to buy one of those tins of sweets for Christmas because it's a traditional thing and you've been conditioned by marketing to do it, fucking don't. Buy mixed packs of the same stuff, the same brand, and buy a big tin to put them in. Not only will you get way more than the tin, it will cost you like half the price of buying one of those tins. That's what you do. Better yet, buy what you like. If you don't like these preset brands, there are cheaper knockoff brands out there that are just as good, sometimes better. Buy one of them. Put it in a really nice bowl or dish in your living room where people can just like take what they want as a bit of a Christmas snack. You can still have the Christmas thing, just don't fall for the fucking marketing. And it's a much more personal way of doing it. Seriously, we live in this consumerist society. Consume, consume, consume. And I hate being an obligation. I hate the idea, oh, you're not an obligation, I'm buying it because I love you. Okay, then if you're doing that, put some fucking thought into it. Don't, I know when I'm getting something that is a tick off a box. I know when I've got something like that. Don't do that. I'd rather receive nothing than something that shows me that I was an obligation to you. Save your fucking money. This is not me being snarky or shitty with people. This is me, like, save your fucking money. Things have got way more expensive. If you want to do something nice for me, let's just spend some time together. I'm really hopping onto that because I mean that. I love the people in my life. I don't need gifts from them, but I would like to spend some time with them. And it's a little bit difficult for me because of my place in life and traveling and shit like that. So, you know, if you can do that, that would be great. Keep in mind my energy levels, though. Just ask. I'll probably say yeah. But no. We live in such a highly consumer society. We have been conditioned over years and upon years to be like, Christmas is a time where you buy more food than you need. Buy specific food that you'll never buy any other time in the year. Buy presents and cards for everyone, and you've got to make sure you give them the same value that they give you, so there's this constant stress. And meanwhile, the energy bills have shot up because it's colder than it's ever before, and the energy companies are going to fucking exploit that. Even if you don't use the shit that much, it just goes up in general. Like, no. Stop. Be practical. I love you. I care about you. Don't waste money on me. But I'm not wasting money on you. I love you. I care about you. And yeah, okay, then if you do, buy something that means something. Make something that means something. Show me that you actually know me. Because, I know when there's a difference. Right? I know. And I know how this sounds. I know this sounds assy and entitled to a lot of people. But it's not coming from a place of selfishness. It's coming from a place of love. Don't waste money on me because the corporations have convinced you that you need to in order for me to not look at you poorly. I'm not going to look at you poorly. You don't need to do it. Anyway.
Like, okay, yay. You know, they're not the most emotional, feelings-based types out there. And so I think they're just going to feel a little awkward depending on whatever it is. And so don't take that the wrong way.
Please. I hate it.
I have a type 5 son.
It's so stressful. You're getting presents, and even if I genuinely really appreciate it, I come across as so fake. I think I got like a set of beard oil from a friend a year or so ago, and that was great. Beard oil I've never tried before. Awesome. But when I received it, my response to him came across as so fake, so disingenuous, and I could hear it in my voice. I came across as, yeah, thank you, oh wow, that's so great, yay, live, laugh, love. I hate it. I come across as so fake and disingenuous. I genuinely appreciated it, but it's difficult for me to show at gift giving, and I always come across so fake, and I hate sounding disingenuous. Even if I'm not being disingenuous, I hate sounding like I am, but I'm just so fucking awkward with receiving gifts, even if I really appreciate them, so fuck me, man.
And I've learned this throughout the years. He's definitely not going to be like me and you know, give any like, wow, this is amazing, but he is going to appreciate it. It's just sometimes they just don't know what to do in the moment. Gift idea, dues for that type 5. Cash. For them, this is a do. Let them buy what they want. They want to research it anyways. You give them a...
This is pretty fucking legit. I went out for a meal with family recently, and they gave me like cards with money in it. You know what that money went on? My groceries. I went shopping today. That's what that money went on. I bought myself a top, which was like £15. On top of that, I used a £10 coupon today. So, yeah, I like to think it went towards that, but that was it. It's like, why? Why would I go above and beyond when I'm receiving this money that I wouldn't have otherwise had? It makes so much more sense to be like, oh cool, my grocery shopping is going to be cheaper for the next week or so. Awesome. You know what I mean? And yeah, if I'm receiving money that I can spend on what I want, that's great. But at the same time, it sounds so assy to just ask people for money. I don't want to do that. No, that just sounds gross. Because if I do, it just goes completely against what I've just been saying. So, no, don't do that either. Just let me spend time with you, and we're good, you know? And I do that anyway with, well, like, some of my family and like my friends. So it's just like, yeah, I'm good.
A certain amount of money, and they're going to go and research what they can buy and the best thing they can get for it. And that's part of the fun for the type 5s. Books. I think this is a great one for the 5s, especially a book that is like random.
Do not buy me books. I have piles and piles and piles of books. I could fill a room with the fucking books that I have and haven't read. Do not buy me books. Even if it's one I want to fucking read, it will take me years, and I'm not exaggerating, years to get around. I have them down there. I've got them on the floor at this point. I have so many of the fucking things. Don't buy me books.
Random facts that they don't know that they can, read about. Anything to do with learning that they're interested in. Biographies of people they really admire and want to learn more about. And so even maybe like an Audible book subscription, that would be a great one, because then they can just go with and get what
you can get audiobooks online for free without the subscription. You don't need Audible.
They want. Gift don'ts for that type 5. The first thing I'm going to say is clothes. Unless you really know their style, I think
do not buy me clothes. Like, don't, no. Unless, alright, there's one or two things I've mentioned to people, like, I love turtlenecks. I'm not wearing one at the moment. I love turtlenecks. There's one or two specific t-shirt brands, like Zombie Makeout Club, that I fucking love. But do not buy me clothes. Either it's not something I would buy myself, it's not of a quality that I would appreciate, it's of a specific knit pattern that makes me look fatter than I am. Like, the top I bought today has a downward facing knit pattern rather than a diagonal knit pattern. Why? Because the diagonal knit pattern, vertical stripes, will make me look fatter. I am fat. I've gained weight these past year or so after I fucking lost it all. I don't need to look fatter. There's a bunch of shit like that. Like, again, money will allow me to buy the clothes I want. Don't buy me clothes. And don't give me money either, because, again, that feels really assy asking for and just slimy. No, I'm not doing that. Fuck that. Just, again, the best thing you can do is not.
Clothes for them, they're just like, oh, okay, thanks. I know some type 5s don't even put a lot of thought into clothes, and so I think if they were to open...
I both put a lot of thought into clothes and also not a lot of thought into clothes. It depends on the time of year. Fucking hate summer. Love autumn and winter. All those fluffy clothing. Sometimes I think about color coordination. Sometimes I think, fuck it. It depends on how much energy I have for that thing in any given day. Sometimes I do put like woman level thought into the clothes I wear. Sometimes I don't give a shit.
Open them, they'd just be like, oh, okay, thanks, And it's not something that it's not something that is a great gift to give a type 5. Another don't for that type 5 is like a plant or anything they have to keep alive. I think that's a definite don't, because they get...
In a sense, yes. But if you've been to my house, there's greenery everywhere. Some of that greenery is dying, but there is greenery everywhere. And yeah, I do forget to water every now and again. I do. There's just so much shit to do in a day, and I get overwhelmed with it. So, I will buy the plants that I want. You don't need to buy that. Yeah, that's decent advice.
So lost in their, their research and looking things up and enjoying that process that I think sometimes the plant might die or not get enough water or anything. And so I would just stay away from plants or maybe even animals. I don't know.
Don't buy me animals.
Asking you for either of them, it's probably not the best gift for them.
Don't buy me animals.
5s don't like surprises, and so don't try.
Seriously, oh my god, do not pull surprises on me. Do not do it. It will put me completely off guard, and my defenses will shut up, and all I will want to do is get out of there. My mother did this once. One year, it might have been for my 18th, she bought me a birthday cake with, like, shaped like boobs. Not only was that a surprise, but I'm not big on cake. And the whole sexual imagery thing from something from my mother is a display of, you don't know me. Yeah, I'm 18. I'm not suddenly a hard drinker, and I'm not obsessed with sex. Oh, that's apparently the thing I need to be at that age. Right, okay, well, I'm not. And I was so pissed. I remember her partner, who was basically my dad at this point, not biologically, but spiritually, he's my father. I remember talking about that with him, and he's like, I told her not to get that. I knew you wouldn't appreciate that. It's funny, he's not my biological father, but I have so many of his traits. We are alike in a lot of ways. Ask Sigmund Freud about that. The fact that the man she ended up with was a lot like her son. That is a question to ask Sigmund Freud, not me. I'm not remotely getting into that. But, we are so much alike, it's crazy. He's also like this when it comes to gifts. He is, like, impossible to buy for, and he will never seem like he appreciates anything you get him, even though he does. But his general thing is just don't bother. Besides, I do enough for him every year anyway. He doesn't need a present from me. He cooks for me. He cooks for me multiple times a week as well. So yeah, that's good enough. He's a fucking good cook. That's fine. You know, that kind of thing. But no, like my mother pulled that for me, like a surprise birthday cake with basically in the shape of tits. I don't appreciate that on any level. Oh god, I hated that. That was so embarrassing. I came in with friends and there's just a cake shape, like there's a boob shaped cake on the fucking table, and my mother thought it was amazing, and all it says is, you don't know me. You don't know me in the slightest if you think I would appreciate that. Like, and I know it's very assy, but again, she should have listened to her partner with that. Like, she should have listened. Like, because, yeah. I feel bad in retrospect because I got so angry at that point. Needlessly so. I was a shit when I was a teenager. I was a shit when I was younger. Like, emotionally unaware, I think, in a lot of ways, of how my mother... I understand my mother now more that she's not around than I did when she was around. And I fucking hate myself for that, because I could have been so much better to her in life, but it's too late now. But yeah, I didn't handle that well. I was caught completely off guard, and I reacted poorly to it. But I hated that in every way. But yeah, do not pull a I will not if I have a surprise party, I will leave the room. I will leave the building, or I will go upstairs and I will lock myself up. No, do not do that. Family have tried to pull that before as well. They asked if I wanted a birthday party. I said no. They did it anyway. I locked myself up in my room and I wouldn't come out. They sent the kids up and said, hey, they want you to come down. We want to show you something. They wanted to sing happy birthday to me and bring out a fucking cake. That's what they wanted. I'm not stupid. I kept myself locked in the room. The next week when I saw them again, I asked them why they did that, despite the fact that I said no. And they were like, oh, it was blah-de-blah's idea. We're like, right, well, don't tell them next time what I said. Oh, we did it for your mother. Right, well, instead of making things awkward for my mother by pulling something for me that I asked you not to do, take her out for a meal. If you want to do something for my mother, do something for my mother, and not for me. Take her out for a meal. She'll appreciate that. Just don't bullshit me. Just accept the fact that you're fucked up. Right? That kind of thing. No, I... Don't push me into shit like that. I'm not going to appreciate it. Fuck me, I'm living in the past right now. I'm remembering the shit as if I was still there. Oh, I'm still angry at some of that. When I say no, I mean no. Fuck what society tells you. Oh, he's just being modest. No. When I say no about something like that, I mean fucking no. You will tell from my tone of voice if I'm bullshitting and I'm joking. You can tell. If you fucking knew me. Oh, God, I hated that so much.
Try and surprise them. I think it's really hard for them. All right, so moving on to the type 6.
All right.
I think Giving gifts for the 6 can be...
6 is a type I need to look into because I know a little bit about... I know quite a bit about 4. I know quite a bit about 5 because for obvious reasons. 6, I don't know anything about. And as a result, I feel like there's part of me I don't know much about. So I need to look into 6.
Stressful for them. They might overthink it, not know what to get you. So maybe if you have a type 6 in your life, be giving them, you know, hints and different, you know...
This is the trait I was talking about. Gift giving for 6s can be quite stressful. I do not have gift giving as part of a love language. Like, it's just not. Every other love language I have at least to some degree. Gift giving I outright do not. In order to approach gift giving, I have to approach it through the lens of acts of service. I have to really think about the person I'm buying for. Really think about, do they have this? Do they have something like this? Would they really appreciate this? Would they work? Has it shown them that I'm actually thinking about them? It's stressful. It's fucking stressful.
List or whatever that you want so that they're not stressing about it, thinking they might, you know, they don't know what to get you or they might not make the right choice or anything like that. And then also just know some 6s, not all, have a hard time receiving gifts sometimes. It can just, like the 5, it feels a little awkward. They don't know what to do. It's
Even
that
if I appreciate
reaction,
it,
you know, that people are expecting might not always happen with them. So just keep that in mind for 6s. Gift idea do's for that type 6. I would say like a custom board game or anything custom, really. I think that's going to mean a lot to them. Maybe a cookbook.
That actually sounds kind of neat. A custom. I don't know how it would be custom, but a custom thing.
A comfort food cookbook, if they like that kind of stuff. Some 6s probably don't, but if they do, you know, get them a cookbook of the kind of foods that they like to cook. A guided planner, I think that's a great idea for the 6s.
Guided planners won't work for me. I'm too chaotic. I'm too disjointed. Guiding planners become an obligation for me. And it's just like, this takes time out of my day planning something that I already have up here. I don't need to write it down. I've got it up here. Don't bother with that. Custom stuff, maybe. If you know me well enough, you'd know what to get. But again, the best bet is to just not.
And maybe even a weighted blanket. I think that might be a good gift for them. I know I have one and I really love it. And
I've never had a weighted blanket, actually. I've considered buying them a few times before because apparently they're very good for autistics. I have a heated blanket, but I don't have a weighted one. I'd be very curious about that. But that's the kind of thing where if I want one, I'm going to research it and get it myself. If I'm going to get it as a gift from someone else, it's not going to be the one I want. It's going to be the one that they've bought. Most likely with pricing in mind. So... again, your best bet is just to not. If I want it, I'll get it myself.
Go towards a 6 and stress as a 9. So I think that might be a good idea. Gift idea don'ts for the type 6. Anything that you feel like you have to get them, that's going to make them unhappy. They don't want you to feel like you have to get them a gift. I've heard
that part. In fact, let me finish what she's saying.
Heard some 6s say, if you feel like you have to get me a gift, then I'd rather no gift. So just
that point in the video was when I decided I'm making this video right here. Yeah, if you feel like you have to get me something, don't get me something. I don't want to be your obligation. I'm not going to read it as you don't care about me, you don't love me, you don't value me. I'm not going to read it as that. I'm never going to read it as that. If you do not value me, I am going to know. A gift is not going to tell me that. I'm going to pick up on it. If you do not like me, if you do not value me or care about me and you're just keeping up appearances, I am going to know. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. I'm going to know, though. So... I pick up on shit like this. I am going to know. Don't. If I feel like... If I am a check off a list for you, if you do not know what to get me, do not get me anything. If I am an obligation, do not get me anything. I'm never going to read it as negative towards you. What I will read as negative towards you is if you get me something that suggests that you do not know me. If you get me something that was obviously an obligation. That will read negatively to me. The best thing for you to do is don't. 100%. Again, I'm self-aware enough to know how a lot of this comes across. It comes across as entitled, assy, that kind of thing. I know. But again, that's because we lived in a heavy consumer society. I understand the irony of me saying this, by the way, while I've got all this shit behind me. I understand the irony of that. But, again, don't. Please. I do not want to be someone's obligation. I do not want to receive something that just tells me that you don't know me. Because that is not... It hurts. It hurts to feel like I'm not known by someone I care about. And on top of that, it hurts feeling like my existence put pressure onto someone else to spend money that they didn't need to spend. Please do not do that. But yeah, that part right there was what made me make this video.
No, like, they're going to pick up on it. They're extremely discerning, and they're going to know. I also would say maybe don't get them home decor. 6s, what do you think? Would you want home decor?
No.
Maybe a...
If I want something, I will buy it myself. But yeah, again, this, I'm going to have to look into 6s because a lot of those 6 traits seem to fit with me. But again, because I'm a type 5, and I'm happy I finally know that now, the 6s and the 4s, elements of that are going to apply to me as well, just not the core. The core is the important bit. I'm still debating whether or not to include the core in this video, because the first time I heard that, I got emotional, because it's very disarming to have somebody say something where it's like, oh, wow, that is me, on a level that is really vulnerable. So I'll think about that.
Candle, you know, or something like that. But
don't buy me candles, because my mother loved candles and she just got candles every fucking year to the point where her house was full of candles. Don't do that. I do like candles. I grew to like candles because I started burning all my mother's old ones that were still knocking around, and I grew to like them. I have them around now. So yeah, again, if it's something I want, I will do the research and I will buy the ones that I want. Don't buy.
I would say for them, stay away from it. I think they know what they want. I think they know their style. They're not going to want you to get that for them. Unless I'm wrong. Let me know, guys.
So this one is about conflict reactions and resolutions. Basically explaining what really pisses off the certain types and what to do when this happens. Now, I'm going to ignore 4 and 6 for this because this is mainly... The one I really clicked with was the 5, which I find very interesting. But I think if you're going to get angry over something, it's because it's going to hit at your core. It's going to hit at something that you just cannot deal with. And I think that is more... Obviously, that is going to be something that affects more your core type because of the cause than it is going to hit your wings. So let's get into it.
So let's move right along to the type 5. What causes conflict within or with the type 5? For them, I think it's when things feel out of control, or, you know, things get put on their plate that they didn't know was going to get put on their plate, or when plans change, like, all the time, or when they're expected to show up and all of a sudden it's like, say it's a Friday and they have their evening planned of what they're going to do, and then maybe, you know, someone's like, hey, actually, this is what we need to do tonight. We're actually going to go to an event, or we're going to go do something. Like, that can cause conflict because it's like, they're not...
Do not fuck me around. If you want to do something, tell me in advance. I will get my brain set for that. I know what I'm going to do every day before I do it. I know what I'm doing tomorrow. Now, do I know what I'm doing the entire week? No. I leave things open in case something needs to come up, and if I'm told the day before, or if it comes up a week or so, or a few days before, cool, let's add that to the schedule, I can do that. I am not going to completely change what is set up beforehand. Do not spring things on me. Do not randomly change things around. Now, I understand in emergencies, shit happens, and in emergencies, that's different. But day to day, do not spring things. Do not randomly show up at my house. Do not randomly plan things and I expect them to just spring on me. Again, the surprises things. Do not do that. I will stick my roots into the ground and I will refuse to budge. I am not doing anything or going anywhere when it is just sprung on me. It's never going to happen. Let me know in advance. And if it's something I can do and want to do, I'll probably make time for it. Again, connect this to the gift giving section where I go on about quality time with people. And it'll make sense. And people who know me, they know how this works. I'm someone that likes to organize my day in my head. I like to have a loose, organized list of things that I'm going to do around certain times. Again, I don't use a planner. I don't have things set in stone. I have, here's the list of shit that needs to be done. Here's the best ways of getting through to it. This is why I function much better when I get up early in the morning. About 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock at the most. Because that gives me plenty of time to do everything that I want to do in my weird autistic procrastinating kind of way. And feel very relaxed at the end of it. If I get up late, that means I have less time to do this. I feel more rushed. And then this problem comes into it. So, yeah. This is a big one, yeah. Do not just spring things on me. Do not fuck me around. Cancel if something comes up, but if you're constantly making plans with me and then constantly canceling, I'm disconnecting from you. I'm not doing it. You're not fucking me around. You're not saying that you're gonna do something and then backing out the last minute. Once or twice, that's fine. Life happens, shit happens, no fucking problem. In fact, I'll probably like that, because that means, oh shit, my day's free now, I can do whatever the fuck I want. Cool, let's just relax for a little bit. But if it happens again and again and again and again, I'm not bothering with you anymore. We're not planning anything. We're not doing anything. Or if we are planning anything, it's going to be, I'm going to have a contingency plan of what I'm doing myself at that point, you know? I might double book things. Actually, no, I won't double book things, because then I'll be the one cancelling on someone else, so I wouldn't do that. But I'll book something that I will be able to do on my own, essentially. I'm not going to be relying on you to follow through. I will just completely lose faith in you. So yeah.
Not ready for that. They haven't prepared for that, and so the just being surprised can cause conflict. Yes. Another thing is overwhelming.
Again, being surprised can cause conflict. I bring you back to that birthday cake one year. I reacted really poorly to that. I'm ashamed about how I wasn't like yelling and screaming. I was just really angry. I'm like, what the fuck did you buy that for? So I can't remember what I said. I was just. It showed me that she didn't know me, which was upsetting because she was my mother. She showed me that she didn't know me at all. And the fact that it was just sprung on me, no, fuck off. Don't fucking do that. So yeah.
Asks, that causes conflict. Just remember, understanding everything is really important to them. And so if something is super overwhelming and they don't understand it, and that's going to be hard for them. Dishonesty, that's a conflict activator for them. And then breaking confidence is when they tell somebody something,
breaking confidence is one, yeah. But also, what was the other one? Being dishonest. Yeah. I love being around genuinely honest people. Now, when I talk about honesty, one of the things that I always have to bring up is a lot of people who go, well, I just tell it how it is. They're shitheads. A lot of people that just tell it like it is, what they mean is they have no filter whatsoever. They have no empathy whatsoever or care about the people around you. You can be an honest person whilst having empathy and being able to read the room. You can deliver your mind, your thoughts, unfiltered, or you can deliver them in a way that shows that you understand the people around you, right? So, I don't just tell it how it is, because that can be incredibly fucking insensitive and make the problems worse. You won't be able to get your point across because you've already raised the fucking defenses of the people around you who are not fucking listening at that point. I am a very honest person. And sometimes this can cause conflict. But I will always try and keep in mind the delivery of such a thing. This can make me come across as somewhat passive-aggressive or somewhat weaselly, depending on the person and how they perceive it. But I'm never gonna bullshit someone. You know where you stand with me. I give my love freely, and I give my distaste freely. Like, you know where you stand with me. However, I'm not gonna be an abrasive asshole about it. That's what I used to be like in my teens. That's what I used to be like. And I look back at that person and I fucking hate him. He is a twat. He is an abrasive shithead. I do not like him. I prefer the way I am now with this. But yeah, like I said, I respect authenticity, I respect honesty, and even if you're going to tell me something I do not like, I will respect you a lot more if you are direct and honest with me. Again, I would prefer it being delivered in a way that isn't overly abrasive, but I want to know the truth. I want to know the facts. I don't want to be bullshitted around because you're frightened of hurting my feelings, because that only causes more problems, because most of the time I can pick up on it. Now, when I pick up on it, I'm not necessarily going to tell you that I pick up on it, because again, conflict, and sometimes I just want to avoid the conflict. I know that I'm being bullshitted at that point, and what does arguing about it solve? Sometimes arguing about it solves something, sometimes it doesn't. A lot of the times you just have a fucking argument. So, again, I'm often more of an observer than anything. So I will be picking up a lot more than I am saying a lot of the time. So, yeah.
I do expect it to stay and not be talked about. And so, and all this seems like so like, well, of course, all of us feel that way, but it's not true. It's not something that would cause conflict within each person, but within the... If I tell
you something in confidence, and I find out that, actually, this was a breakup at one point. This is one of the things that made me lose complete respect for someone and, resulted in a breakup at one point, because I'm not giving you details, but I was begged for something for weeks. And it was something that was not the kind of thing I would do. In the end, I gave in and I gave her what she wanted. The next thing, her friends knew about it. And I was getting compliments from her friends. Now, I don't care that they were compliments, right? I don't care. They could have been, it doesn't matter. Like, I shared something with this person that was between me and her. And then her friends ended up being aware of it. Doesn't matter that I got a bunch of really nice things said about it. Doesn't fucking matter. That was between me and her. That didn't directly cause a breakup, but it was a schism between us. I was not happy with that. That was a breach of trust, and after that breach of trust, I couldn't trust her again. I would be less likely to open up or do anything like that for her ever again, because, well, if I'm sharing it with her, I'm sharing it with her friends, and God knows how many other people. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. So, yeah, when we're talking about something, if we're talking about something in confidence and it comes up elsewhere, like, for example, let's say I'm talking to a friend about something important. That is between me and that person. Now, if I'm part of a circle of friends and that person I'm talking to is also a friend of with someone else, and I don't know if they have shared what they told me with that other person. I will handle it in a way where I'm not going to lie to this mutual friend of mine. I'm gonna say something like, he's been dealing with a lot of shit recently. He's got a lot on his plate recently. And I'll end up just saying, it's not my place to discuss. Ask him. Just ask him if everything's okay or if there's something up or something like that. That is how I will handle it. Because I do not want to breach his trust in me. He's been vulnerable to me. That is between me and him. Not no one else. Not even between mutual close friends. That is between me and him. If he wants to talk about that with this other mutual close friend or these other people, that's up to him. And if you can pick up, if this mutual friend can pick up that there's something wrong with him, then that's on to that person to talk to him about it and just tell them. That doesn't mean that I've said anything. That just means that it's obvious that this other person that cares about them can see that there's something up, right? And I expect that same level of confidentiality. Yeah, that is that. I am a very open and honest person, but at the same time, I'm also quite withdrawn and private. I will be extremely emotionally available and honest to even people I've met for the first time. I'm an open book in a lot of ways. However, I'm going to talk about things in ways that aren't 100% blatant, right? That is saved for people with whom I am incredibly comfortable around. And if they breach that trust, I'm going to find it hard to trust them again. That vulnerability I'm sharing is between me and them. No one else. So, yeah, human beings are complicated.
The 5, it does. So, and for the 5, their behaviors, what do their behaviors look like? I would say a 5, as for as much as they're quiet and withdrawn and, you know, they say very little, every once in a while they say a lot and it's like bam, and then their anger kind of explodes.
Yeah. This is actually a video I'm hoping friends and family watch, because I know the people who know me will watch this and they'll be like, holy shit, yeah, that's him. That's Andrew. That is him. I can be really calm while other people are freaking out, but when I lose my composure, pew, and one of my friends has commented on this a lot, I can hit people where it hurts. I can read people quite well, and as a result, my greatest weapon is my tongue. I can hit people where it hurts, and I've done it once or twice to people I love, and later on when I've calmed down, I felt like such a colossal piece of shit, because those are the kind of things that will stick with people. Those are the kind of things that create permanent wounds, because it attacks your core. And I can do this to myself. I can do this to every single person I know and love. I can point out their weaknesses and their insecurities. And what this allows me to do is be exactly the kind of person you want in your life when you're dealing with shit. When you're dealing with shit, I am the kind of person you want in your life to come to and talk to and just get it all off your chest. And I will listen to you, and I will try and take it in, rearrange it, and bring it out, in which I am showing you that I understand where you're coming from. I'm validating where you're coming from. You're not on your own. I completely understand you. I can empathize. Maybe I've been through something similar and I'll say that, which is an autistic trait. I'll give you an example of something I've been through to show you that I do generally understand where you're coming from, and I'm not just being pedant. I'm not just saying that just because that's what people say. I generally do understand, and I will get in their head, and I will go through what their thought process is and be like, this is how you're thinking. And I personally think that's a very validating thing to hear. It's like, okay, yes, I'm being heard. And in doing so, I can go, okay, this is how you're thinking. I can completely understand where you've got to this point. Here's some things that you can do to help yourself out, and so on and so forth. So that is a skill set that I have. That is a skill set that I have always had. And now that I'm aware of it, I can use it to my best. When I really love someone and care about someone I know and know someone, I can use this talent to rip someone apart, or I can use this talent to help build someone back up. And that mixed with the confidentiality makes me the kind of person that you want in your life when you need somebody to really unload onto. Because that will only be between me and you. And I will do my best to listen to you and understand you and show that I understand you and maybe help you out in some way that I can. That is a talent that I have. And again, I don't like saying that I am specifically good at something or specifically know someone unless I 100% am ironclad that I am. If there is any element that I'm unsure about, I won't be that blatant about it. But that is something I'm very good at doing.
But then it goes away. And so that's kind of a behavior within them.
Yes.
They also...
I can be explosive with my anger. I can be incredibly quiet, and then all of a sudden I will have this boom, and it will be explosive. And then I will withdraw, I will calm down, and the next time you see me, I'll have a completely different, like, I'll have a different personality. And I will most likely try and, like, make up for my explosive temper by being helpful or assisting in some way or doing something for someone, like acts of service, as kind of apology for the complete, like, the complete loss of control. And she mentioned before, like, control is a big thing for me. I am a controlling person of myself and of my environment. Not every environment. Some environments are not for me, so I don't go in them. Simple. But some environments are mine. And when I'm in my environment, I want to not necessarily control my environment, but know my environment. I know what can happen. I know what will happen, that kind of thing. That is my safety. I like my environment to be reliable and predictable. And it all comes around to that.
Also are going to go in their head. They're in this thinking triad, and they're going to live in their head and think about it and process it mentally. And then, for them, they're going to withdraw. They're going to, they're going to pull back from whatever's going on. They're going to withdraw. So those are some of the behaviors that can happen. How to navigate with that 5 when you're in conflict. I would say maintain a real rational approach, a real logical approach, not feelings-based.
That is a really good, that is good a good approach to me, because when I am in that mentality, I am in a very emotional state. Right, that angry outburst is an emotional state, and the best way to get me out of that is to have a rational response, a cool, calculated, rational response, and I will kind of feed off that, and it will help bring me back down again. So yeah, that is really good advice. Like a cold, calm, well, not necessarily cold, but a calm, rational, logical approach. If you respond to me with emotion, that will feed into my emotional outburst. If you respond to me with calm rationality, that I will feed into that as well, and it will help me chill out. So that is really good advice.
Possible. That's how you're gonna reach them the best. And then also give them plenty of time of like, hey, I need to talk to you. Well, it can't be like right then.
This is where a lot of conflict in a lot of like relationships arise. If you are the personality type that needs to address conflict right there and then, you will make the conflict worse for the kind of person who needs to withdraw, calm, think, and then approach. And by that same token, if you're the kind of person that needs to calm, withdraw, calm, think, and then approach, while you're doing that, the person who needs to, with the personality type that needs to address this issue right at that moment, is getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Some types will probably fear abandonment at that point. Some types will probably fear, like, if we don't address this right now, it will never be addressed, and it will just fester until it explodes. It depends on the personality type, but this is where a lot of conflict arises in that how people approach these things. I am the kind of person that needs to withdraw, have my own space, have no distractions, and recharge. And then I can approach and have a rational conversation with you about it and try to reach an understanding, regardless of what it is. But if you're the kind of person that needs to address this now, you're just going to stress me out. And yeah, but again, if you are that kind of person, not dealing with it at that moment is going to stress you out. And this creates a real kind of like sparking, like fire inferno kind of moment. This is why learning about these kind of personality types and how different people approach these things is really helpful, because it helps you to understand another approach that you won't naturally have. And if both people understand the different approach, it helps deal with that conflict a little bit better, because they're like, okay, this person is not abandoning me. They're not ignoring the issue. They're just having space to themselves. Okay, this person is not forcing something on me. They're not attacking me. They're not pushing me into a corner. They're just really worried and concerned and want to address this as quickly as possible. That is the strength of learning about this kind of thing.
Your time?
Knowledge is power.
And just give them like some time. Like maybe you say, hey, tomorrow. Or in a few hours, or anything like that.
In a few hours would be ideal.
Give them some advance notice. And then give them physical space. They need space to process this.
Yep.
They need physical space.
Yep.
And then if you are 5 watching this, I would ask yourself, like, during conflict, like, are you expressing yourself? Are you, not expressing? Or how are you expressing yourself?
I will be expressing myself in a very 5 with 4 manner. Heavy emotion. A lot of the time. If I've completely lost my temper... heavy emotion. If I haven't lost my temper and we're simply having a conflict, I'm very withdrawn. I am analyzing and thinking about how to approach this in the best way. So I can have completely counter different reactions. If it's a basic argument and a disagreement, withdrawn, cold, calculating, not showing much emotion, not showing much passion. I'm trying to think of the best way to approach this. If I am if I've reached my breaking point and I'm emotional, heavy emotion, lots of anger, shouting, that kind of thing. It depends on the kind of conflict.
And are you expressing your feelings and your emotions? Tap into that side of you. And I have quite a few 5s on this channel that comment all the time. And I'm speaking to you. You got to tap into that to process what's going on. So, all right. So let's move right along.
So yeah, because to another person, if whilst you're in your head and you're trying to think of a way to approach this, you're looking avoidant and like you don't care to the other person a lot of the time. Again, this is how the knowledge is power thing, how understanding this helps better approach. But again, that's a very 5 way to look at it. A lot of other people aren't going to be thinking about it in this logical manner. So, damned if you do, you damned if you don't. Let's move on. And here it is. The ultimate guide to Enneagram Type 5. I've decided to share this because it really connects everything together. And I feel like people who know me, I don't know how they're going to react to this. I don't know, it might give away a little bit too much about how my brain works. I also like how it's an ultimate guide and it's like 5 minutes. That's beautifully condensed, but it gets to the real core thing. And this video was, amongst other things, connected, but this video in particular was what made me finally decide, yeah, I'm Type 5. I'm Type 5. Because the most important thing is the core. The first time I heard about Enneagrams and I was researching it, the thing that really attracted me to the concept was the fact that, like I've said before, it isn't this big, look how special you are kind of thing. It is, here is who you are and here is why you are this way. Because you have these core desires and insecurities and fears and things like that. And this is the psychological way it has affected you who you are as a person because of these core things. And it's not a very pleasant thing to look at, because nobody likes to look at that deeper side of them when it's not pleasant. And that to me, that not entirely positive rainbow kind of element of it makes it far more believable. So that's why we're getting into this, and we're ending the video with this.
An Enneagram Type 5 if you don't do small talk. Keeping things private is one of your top priorities. You are very protective of your time and space.
Keep in mind of everything we've talked about, by the way, up until this point. This is why I've left it to the last. Everything we've talked about up until this point. Keep in mind what she's saying here. Let's start over again, and we'll go through everyone.
You might be an Enneagram Type 5 if you don't do small talk.
I can do small talk, but it means nothing to me. I do it as a social nicety. The only exception to that is the weather. I generally do enjoy bitching about the weather, complaining about the weather, because I just find, I don't know, there's just something about that that's very culturally relevant. Like, there's this one guy I often talk to when walking the dogs who's been bitching about, like, the weather not being able to make its mind up these days, because that weather thing jumps into, oh, why? Well, because I've got this problem, and like, if I go out wearing this piece of clothing, then it's gonna, you know, and then it heats up, then it's gonna mess me around, and so on and so forth. Or if I go out when it's warm and then it gets really, really cold, then it's gonna get at my back or something, like the bones and something like that. I don't know. I'm just shoving shit out at the moment. But talking about the weather in particular, that can be a good bridge point for other things, and it can be kind of fun, mainly because of my sense of humor and, like, the local sense of humor. Talking about the weather and complaining about the sense of humor can be quite funny. But in general, yeah, small talk is a waste of fucking time. Let's talk about something real.
Keeping things private is one of your top priorities.
This is I think this is where the INFJ thing comes into it, because I am both an open book and quite a reserved kind of private individual. Which sounds weird, but INFJs are like a collection of hypocrisies. But I will talk about things in a very general manner, and if I am opening myself up to, like, oh, I've been depressed recently or something like that, or I've been, like, having a really negative point in my life, that will only ever happen when it's past tense and I've moved on from it and I'm in a better place, or when I'm really, really, really fucking bad and I desperately need help. Every now and again I will upload a video on YouTube these days in which I show some vulnerability, but I typically regret it every single time I do it and often remove it. I used to be far more open with this thing, but again, as I've gained more of a sense of pride and value in who I am as a person, the more protective of that image of myself I've developed. Basically, if I'm scrolling through my YouTube channel and watching my own YouTube videos, which I do on occasion, I don't want to be reminded of the times where I've been negative. I want to have a display of all the times I've been a silly goober, just daft and fun and stupid. Every single time I've been having a good time, or every single time I've been like this and really, like, thinking about things and just having fun with concepts and ideas and so on and so forth. That's what I want to be reminded of. Reality is full of negativity, and whilst I don't like negativity, whilst I don't mind negativity, and I really admire authentic negativity, I like it when people don't hide their negativity and they're being authentically negative or honest and that kind of thing. I don't need to be constantly reminded of all the times I was down. I don't need to be reminded of that. I'd rather be reminded of me at my best, which is in things like this.
You are very protective of your time and space.
Absolutely, because I have energy reserves that deplete quicker than neurotypical people. And because of that, my house is my safe space. This is where I'm calm and relaxed. A day spent entirely on my own will make me a good fucking mood. Give me in a good fucking mood. And if I invite you into my space, it's because I like you. There's no question about it. If I don't like you, you're not coming in here. You know, my time is precious to me. My space is precious to me. So if I include you into that, that's because you're precious to me. That simple.
You stay calm in a crisis situation.
Depending. If other people are in a crisis, I'm pretty good to have around. If my anxiety is playing up, I am not calm. If the crisis is around my anxiety, I am not fucking calm. Actual crises, though, yeah. The day my mother went, I immediately called the paramedics, and when they were here and looking after her, I ran up the road to get my dad and bring him back as quickly as possible. That was what I did on the day. I acted. And the only thing I could have done better at that day is pull out her prescription list so they know what medications she was on. But I handled that the best I could. And I didn't go with my dad to the hospital with her, but as soon as he went with her, I knew she was in good hands. And then I completely crashed and lost composure. I freaked out. I bawled my eyes out. I cried. I uploaded a video of it, which is how some family friends, because that was me desperately calling out for help. I was reaching out. I was desperately calling for, like, something. I needed comfort. That's why I made a video at that time, which is also why I don't judge people who upload weak, vulnerable videos of themselves online, because a lot of these people are doing exactly what I did at that moment, and they were desperately crying out for some human contact. They needed people at that moment. But when I was needed, I acted. And once I was no longer needed, I fucking crumbled. And that's how I handled that. So, yeah, I think I am calm in a crisis. I've not been in many legitimate crises. That was a fucking crisis. But when it comes to my own anxiety, that's a different matter.
You need to understand how things work.
Yes. Knowledge is power. I don't like just going, oh, okay. This is actually why it took me a long time to embrace spirituality, and why I'm still a little bit uncomfortable to this day when I did eventually embrace spirituality. I am a little bit spiritual now these days, and if I'm honest, I've always felt a pull to it. But I don't mean religious, but I am a little spiritual. Nature-based stuff, symbolism and all that kind of thing. But I am a little uncomfortable with it because I can't explain it. But it does provide value in my life. It does do something for me, and that can't be denied. So even if it is a load of bullshit, it is a load of bullshit that provides some benefit to my life. So I engage in it. That's simple.
You'd rather work alone. You could be a little bit of a hoarder.
Fucking... Gee, can I be a little bit of a hoarder? I never knew. Do I like to work alone? It depends on the project. Generally speaking, I can't get something done if I'm around other people. In fact, when I went to college, I did most of my work at home. I couldn't get anything done whilst I was there. I did research whilst I was in college, and I actually put the bulk of the work together when I was at home. I couldn't do it around people. So that is kind of true. But some things I prefer having backup. It depends on how competent I feel in a specific thing. If I feel competent enough in a thing, I'm doing it by myself. If I don't feel competent in a thing, then I want the knowledge and understanding of the people around me to help guide me through this, because I'm lacking knowledge in that area. I'm lacking understanding, so on and so forth.
Love researching and processing information.
This is what we're doing right now.
And you seldom feel lonely.
No, really. I love my own space. A day spent entirely on my own is a good fucking day. I love my loved ones dearly. I couldn't live life without them. Like, my life without the loved ones in my life, my family, my friends, so on and so forth, that would be a hollow existence. But I don't want them around me all the time. I don't want them around me all the time. I can happily go a week without seeing anyone and be the happiest ball of energy you will ever see. Like, legitimately. Really fucking happy. I like my own space. My own space is fun.
I was just reading was an Instagram post that I posted last week that really resonated with a lot of type 5s. And so today we are going to dig a little deeper into identifying if you are actually a type 5.
As it should be.
If you're new here, I'm Hillary.
Because people are a little bit more deep than a fucking meme with some sound bites.
I'm your certified Enneagram life coach, and I love teaching the Enneagram in a very simple way so that everybody could use it and apply it in their life.
Which I very
easily.
much appreciate.
Okay, so if you related to a lot of that post, then maybe you are a type 5. But I don't want to just base your type off of an Instagram post. We need to dig a little deeper.
As it should be.
To make sure you actually are a type 5. Truthfully, and
okay, here's the bit.
in order for the type 5 to be your actual type, you really need to relate to the core motivations of the type 5. And I refer to the...
When I watched this video, I legitimately got emotional because I am not used to experiencing people actually see me, actually understand me. I am used to empathy, but I am not used to understanding. And having somebody hit my core like this is really disarming. And actually, the top comment on this video is somebody saying the same kind of thing.
Those as the core 4. The core fear, the core desire, the core longing, and the core weakness.
This is what I love about Enneagram. Because these are core factors of who we all are as people that massively influence who we are, how we react to things, how we process things, what we want in life. This is what I love about the Enneagram, because this gets into the deep, real things of what make people people. And it's not all pretty. It's not all sunshine and roses and rainbows and puppy dogs. It is legit, like, human reality. And I love that.
These 4 are the first step in actually figuring out your type. So what is the core desire of the 5? And that core desire is something you're running towards. It's what you want. It's what you're going after. It's what motivates you, right? It motivates some of your decisions. And for the 5, it might look like they want to conserve their energy. Mm-hmm. They avoid being drained by the outside world.
Again, at this point, keep in mind everything I've said up until this point.
They want to be competent, knowledgeable, and capable. Those are super important.
These are also massive insecurities of mine. I feel like I am many years behind most people in these areas. I feel like I am essentially a teenager at this point in my capabilities, despite being in my fucking 30s. Almost in my mid-fucking 30s. And it's a massive insecurity of mine. Remember what I said before about not sharing your insecurities online? I'm doing it in this because it's important to the information. And I value this information, so here we go.
Important to the type 5. And they kind of want all of these so that they could be self-sufficient in life. All right, so
I like and am happy with the fact that I have people in my life who I know I can rely on if shit hits the fan. I have several friends and several family members where I know if I'm fucked, I've got people at my back, and I love them dearly for that. I know for a fact that they will move mountains to help me. However, I don't want to rely on that. I am never as good as I think I should be at pretty much everything. But the more self-sufficient I can be, the more I can handle stuff on my own without needing to rely and burden the people I care about, the better. And one of the best ways of doing that is knowledge. The more I know, the more I understand, the more negative bullshit I can avoid. The more I can handle shit on my own without making the lives of people I care about more difficult.
moving right along to
Keep in mind all that, right?
the type 5's core fear, which means what you're running away from. It's, you know, the core fear. It's deep down in your soul. It truly is a fear to you. And for the 5, they fear being overwhelmed by their own needs and the needs of others. They fear having their energy depleted, and they fear being thought of as unintelligent or ignorant. So those are some of the deep fears of the type 5. All right.
I'm not getting into it, but yeah, all of that is basically true.
So let's talk about the core weakness of the 5. And that core weakness, what does that mean? That's something they're wrestling with. It's a wrestle with something that they might have. And so for the 5, it's avarice. They need to accumulate knowledge. They hold in and hold back a lot of things. They actually think that letting go might lead to catastrophic depletion. They even might hoard emotions, resources, their energy, and themselves. And so that's kind of a little bit of what avarice would look like for that type 5. Okay.
And this is where we get into the INFJ stuff as well, where I may look like a zombie to some people in how I go about and how I am and my facial expressions, but fuck me, is there a galaxy of shit going on inside this head at all times. I'm observing, I'm thinking, I'm analyzing, and that doesn't leave much room for a lot of other things. And yeah, a lot of these other things will fall by the wayside. But if you trigger the right buttons, there will be just a fucking tsunami of information that I will just gush out at you. Which, again, autistic fucking info dumping. This is the big thing, though, with looking into this. Enneagram, Myers-Briggs, autism, I forget the system, but in the novel Surrounded by Idiots, in which I am a green-blue, or a blue-green, I don't know, I'd say green-blue. The connecting dots between all of these traits, all of these mentalities, there is so much through lines. In fact, one of the top comments on this video is a fucking INFJ. The through lines between these different things, the connecting dots, the consistent patterns, all of this connecting together to be like, yes, this is a real thing. This is a really nice model, especially when added together to help understand not only yourself and how your own brain works, but how other people work. And the more you understand, the more knowledge about this you can accumulate, the more you can better understand people, thus the better you can approach them and everything to do with them, and like know how you're going to react in the world. It is like the best security, the best skill set to have to just know all this. And yeah, I just, it's a epiphany moment. It's a eureka moment when you start looking into this and you start connecting all the pieces together and be like, wow, I understand myself so much at the moment. What, God, this feels validating. This is so fucking validating. This is so just, wow, I can see these patterns now. I can see these patterns booking everywhere. I am actually a very... I can take myself, I can put myself there, and I can connect all these different things and get a nice, decent picture of who I am together and be like, you know what? This, I understand this. I kind of like this. There's a few flaws here and there, but overall, this is a nice collection of traits that I can understand and analyze and yeah.
Okay, so last but least, what is the type 5's core longing? And this would have been something that they've longed to hear, and especially as a child. It's what
this is the bit. I have family that watch this channel. This is the bit.
Their heart desired to hear. And for the 5, it was, your needs are not a problem.
They are, though. I'm a fucking burden. Social anxiety makes me a burden on society because of how much it affects me. I can't hold a normal job down. I'm a leech on society. I can't hold a normal job down. I'm useless at a lot of basic fucking shit that everyone else can just do. You know? Like, they are a problem. My mother did so much for me, and I've felt like a burden for a long time. If not a burden on the people I care about, then a burden on society. Because I'm broken in so many areas. I'm like one of those old RPG characters where I've taken several negative traits in order to have a high skill set in one specific area. And unfortunately, the negative traits I've taken on are really basic fucking shit that comes standard in like every other character. And the skill set I have is really fucking obtuse. And the fucking... The biggest irony, comedic irony of the whole thing is my greatest skill set involves social interaction, which is my biggest weakness. Fuck me. But I feel as if I could be incredibly useful and capable if I was placed in like a specific area to best use my skill set, which is essentially, like I mentioned before, it's analyzing concepts and analyzing people and listening to people and bringing it back out to them in a different way, helping them feel heard and understood, as well as just analyzing concepts and multiple systems, and basically having a decent understanding of how all these things connect. The problem INFJ trade is getting this understanding out of my head into the real world, because my mouth cannot keep up with the speed that my brain is running and all the different connections it's making with these things. I have tried to explain before connecting issues and how they affect different things, but it's difficult to explain, especially when the other person doesn't have already existing underlying knowledge of a lot of this thing. So that comes into over-explaining and explaining parts that connect to parts that connect to parts. And it's just... I'm terrible at explaining what I mean by this, but I definitely do have a skill set in some of these areas. But where the fuck that would be useful in a way that doesn't deplete my own energy? I don't know. I don't know. As such, my needs are a problem. And if I ever interact with someone who tells me essentially that my needs are not a problem, and I pick up that they're being 100% genuine, I think I'll break down. I'll be like a touch-stopped person being touched for the first time in like 10 years. It will just send a shock to my system that will make me crumble. Because, yeah, my needs are a problem. Evidently! But anyway.
So those are the 4 cores, the 4 motivations of the type 5. If you came here wondering if you are type 5, did you relate to them? Were they like, oh my gosh, you're reading my mail, Hillary? That's what I'm looking for when I'm going through a typing session with somebody. I'm looking for the one that really hits home and you go, oh, yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
Then we know it's actually your type. And so if you are type 5 and you're like, wait, I need more information than just this, because if you know anything about the Enneagram,
we will be getting into the wings. Videos I recommend for right. We're gonna go into the wings now. There's one last final bit I want to show you for this big ass video, and then I'm gonna be done. Ready? Let's go. Okay, so here's basically the Enneagram thing. So here's my type, and as such, I will have elements of 6 and 4. typically speaking, people lean more to one than the other. But as we've seen from this video, I do have some 6 traits as well as many 4 traits. Example, if you're a 9, you will probably have some traits from 8 and 1. But you'll probably lean one way or the other. Again, if you're a 2, you'll have some traits of 1 and 3. You get the idea. Moving on.
The type 5 with the 4 wing, they're called the iconoclast. And what this means is they're more emotional, more introspective, more creative than the 5 wing 6. They kind of pull that from the 4. They could be more withdrawn and isolated and more independent than the 5 wing 6. They do not like having things imposed on them. And when struggling, the 5 wing 4, they can detach from people by using their own knowledge and observation and insights to create distance from people. And so,
which, if I'm being completely honest, I do a lot. It's kind of like a coping mechanism for social anxiety. I do have this like weird distance thing that I do all the time, and I quite often find myself being someone from the outside looking in, and then I wonder why I never seem to really fit in anywhere. It's because I remove myself from places, like, if not physically, then mentally. And I find myself kicking back and just looking and analyzing. Because again, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to get as much information from my environment as possible because that is my security blanket, essentially. Knowledge.
That is, when they're struggling, they're going to totally withdraw and detach from people. Easier than the 5 wing 6. And their inspiring quality is they are amazing at pulling things apart and conceptualizing new ways.
This is what I was talking about before, and this is like a really nice way of describing the skill set that I do have. And if you speak with me a lot, you'll realize I do this, because not only am I constantly absorbing information, I'm connecting things together, and I have like this internal universe, this internal web that covers a whole lot of things, and I do generally believe that I have a really deep understanding of a lot of different things. I might not know all of the details, I might not know, like the names of things specifically, but this is why with the things I've looked into, I have like a good understanding and can easily put myself in the perspectives of multiple different people, even if I don't share those perspectives. This same mentality is how I landed on the philosophy of absurdism long before I knew absurdism was even a thing that existed. In fact, I purposely avoid looking into philosophers, specifically, outside of 1 or 2 little things, because I don't want to be influenced by a philosopher's outlook. I don't want to be one of these people that just sits back and quotes philosophers as if I know what I'm talking about. I want to come up with the outlook myself. And if it happens to be similar to someone else, as it was in the case of absurdism, I'll adopt it. I'll adopt the label. But even then, I've not looked into the founders of absurdism. I know it's an offshoot of nihilism, just a less fucking depressing, self-destructive version. Quite the opposite, in fact. But yeah, I don't want to just be a parrot of philosophers. I want to come up with these ideas myself, because ultimately, what is philosophy but the result of analyzing the world around us and trying to make sense of it, which is what I do by default.
To look at it from different and creative viewpoints. And so that's that inspiring quality of that type 5 with the 4 wing. So let's move on to the type 5 with the 6 wing, the problem solver.
And I feel like this is like the typical, like, on the book 5. The massive cerebral guy who can, like, put patterns, put like physical shapes together, who can think of an engineering diagram. The type 5 with 6 is probably the kind of person who could put that together in their mind and just do it. I am not that kind of person. The type 5 with 6 and the basic type 5 is why I struggled discerning as what I was. I thought I was either a 4, a 5, or a 9, but 5 seemed way too cerebral. The real connections between the 4 influencing the 5 is how I eventually landed up, because I do not share the core drives of a 4. I don't share them. I do absolutely 150 fucking percent though have the core drives of a 5. But yes, now that I know exactly what I am, she's helped piece together the bits I've already read and watched and listened to quite nicely. Big thanks to her. She's a fucking star. Wherever she is now. Her last video was like a year ago. I hope she's doing alright. But massive thanks to her. She's fucking fantastic. She's helped put like the final pieces together. She has provided me the final few pieces of the puzzle that slots in, and now I have a clear view. Now that I have a clear view, I can directly target specific things. So I want to look into 5 with 4 as much as possible. I also want to look into 6, because the more I understand about 6, the more I'm going to understand about the 6 elements of myself, which seem very minor, especially in comparison to 4. So, yeah. I think anyone who just outwardly dismisses this stuff has just essentially not looked into it. Because there's definitely something to this. There really is. Well, they've taken it as a surface level, but there's definitely something to this. Because the connections I'm seeing between being autistic, INFJ, type 5 with 4, and being a green-blue in that other system that I forget the name of. There are so many interconnecting systems. We've essentially got a multitude of people coming up with names and categorizations for things that are already there. This isn't taking people and putting them into boxes and saying you are that. On a surface level, it might seem that way, but every one of these is far more nuanced than that. What this is it's analyzing people and making it easier for people to understand others and themselves by getting into depth as to what different types of people there are out there. It's not shoving people into a box, it's labeling what is already there to help better understand it. And each other. And yeah. So, this has been a long-ass video. I hope you've enjoyed. Bye for now.